Oh, when I read the story of Mary, I just feel so bad for her.
Yes.
Because if I was in her position, I would have been like, no, God, she's someone else. She went through a lot at such a young age.
Welcome to the Crown That Befits You, the podcast for kingdom minded visionaries. Here we talk faith, purpose, and the journey to success. From entrepreneurs to overcomers, we unpack what it takes to walk boldly in your God given calling. Your crown is waiting for you. Let's walk in it together. How has your relationship with God shaped the way you walk out your purpose and in both your profession and your professional life?
All right. I have to really just say that I think everything I do is centered in purpose, and
Yes.
that purpose is given by God.
Yes.
There hasn't been a time in my life where I've not seen the goodness of God, and that has given me the desire to help others. So that's why I'm so grateful that I get to be an audiologist or be a philanthropist or just be engaged in so many different things because I see the heart of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, money aside, accolades aside, everything is rooted in how can I make sure people's lives are better
Mm,
and how can I be a reflection of God's life
mm,
and love
mm.
in other people's life. So, if there's a moment where I'm doing something and it doesn't feel like that anymore, where either I lose the passion or I feel like it's not directed at loving and caring for others anymore, then I'll have to redirect and recenter myself. And sometimes that means leaving things that once I thought were my purpose.
Yeah.
So the purpose, the career, it can change over time, but it's always rooted in God.
So, sure, that's powerful. Okay. What exactly does an audiologist do,
Okay.
and why is this field so important, especially in South Africa?
When it comes to audiology, especially in South Africa, I think the need is greater than
Mm,
ever before. Obviously, we're understaffed, we're a shortage of audiologists. I think the stat in around 2021 was one audiologist to every 200,000 people in the country. And it doesn't matter how many people I see a day, I can never see 200,000 people in my lifetime. So, audiologists are healthcare professionals and scientists that are specialists in ears and hearing and
mm,
balance disorders. So, anything related to the ear, we are the go to person. And I think a lot of times we used to misunderstand a hearing problem as simply
mm.
just deafness or deaf culture that is underrepresented and not seen as important. Because a lot of people thought it's a minority group in society. But now, with the increasing rates of HIV, TB, cancer, hypertension, diabetes medication in our population,
Mm.
we're having an increasing number of young people that are struggling with their hearing. And we're seeing also a rise in communication disorders, a rise in balance disorders from trauma, from accidents. So our scope of practice has also expanded from
Yes.
just looking at the ear for a pathology or
Mm,
an infection to being more holistic and trying to see that when there's a patient in front of us, are we looking at them as just a case or are we seeing them as a part of a bigger population of people that will have to interact with the environment, that will have to work, learn, that will have to bring value in communities and how what they're experiencing might affect that.
mm.
So it's not just your ears or hearing or
True.
listening anymore. It's now giving people the power to be their own catalyst of change and giving people the power to stand up for themselves in a world that often tells you that you don't deserve to.
Sure. So, you know, you said something like short-staffed and the unemployment rate in South Africa, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think a lot of South Africans know a lot about audiology because I think, especially we need more doctors in the country. Do you think if audiology was like advertised or like educated more enough to people in South Africa, more people would go to like try and become an audiologist?
In all honesty, there are times where we deal with patients, for example, maybe they have cancer,
Mm,
just as an example. And if someone is going through chemotherapy and they're in excruciating amounts of pain, the first thing they'll think about is, I want to live. I just want to be alive. I don't want to be in pain anymore. I just want to be there for my family. So things such as eyesight, hearing, those aren't necessarily a priority at that time,
mm,
you know. So I understand when we're weighing the the benefits of maybe employing a doctor, a medical
yes,
doctor versus an audiologist, or putting money aside. If there's a health crisis, are you going to run to the doctor first or the audiologist? Most of the time, people will choose the doctor.
right, okay.
But I think when it comes to professions like audiology, um, we are essential because we're not just only focusing on your wellness, we're focusing on your quality of life.
Mm,
So, with that same patient, once they are able to complete their chemotherapy, the side effects now step in
yeah.
of either your balance is impacted from the medication itself, it's so strong on the body,
Mm,
or your hearing gets damaged from that through the process. So now you're alive, you're living, but you go back to work, or you go back to church, or you go back to school, and you can't hear anyone anymore,
mm,
or you're struggling to keep up and you're starting to isolate. That can take such a toll on your mental health, your overall confidence, because there is a stigma around hearing loss that it's for elderly people. So now you're thinking, I'm only in my 20s or 30s or 40s, and all of a sudden, after dealing with this life altering illness,
yes,
I come back and I can't cope anymore. It feels like, do I belong here? Is it
yes,
worth me having gone through that battle just to struggle for the rest of my life?
yes.
So that's where depression can kick in and just so many other mental illnesses. So I think the value of audiologist or audiology as a whole is really giving people that confidence
Mm,
to know that there is a way forward and there is help available, even though whatever you're going through isn't in the mainstream. But 100%, if we were able to educate people more, bring more awareness, have more educational campaigns that tell people about the side effects that they can experience with different medications, with noise exposure from concerts, loud music, or working in loud environments, and
yes.
how that long term impacts them,
Mm,
and how, as audiologists, we have solutions. I think a lot more people would be willing to come, and they'd see that it's not just looking in your ear, it's giving you more control of your life. And I don't think there's a certain amount of money that can be put to that value.
sure. That's okay. So, you especially said like most people think that audiology is for older people.
Yeah.
So, especially for the younger generation, like our youth, what are especially in the youth, what are the factors that maybe they take for granted that actually affect the hearing, that they find in themselves in positions where they have to now see an audiologist? Is it like, I think you did say like they surround us, maybe listening to loud music. What are other factors? Is it health, or what is it like as a youth in South Africa?
I think the tricky part about the ear is that it's so intimate.
Mm,
No one touches your ear on a day-to-day basis. So the thought of someone else coming in to look at it is already feeling so invasive. But we use our ears for almost everything.
mm,
So even when it comes to your overall health, if you are now struggling with any of the other comorbidities I mentioned earlier on,
yes.
whether when it comes to South Africa, we are currently the leading HIV and AIDS stats in the world.
Yeah.
So with that medication, it's great because it's keeping your overall count low, But the problem is that over time it damages your hearing, or it
Mm.
damages your ability to be able to miss important sounds for speech. So now it comes to overall, if you are on chronic medication. So this can range from your TB medication, high blood medication, diabetes treatment, because we are having also increasing rates of obesity in our country.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that come into play.
Yes.
But if you're on any type of chronic medication, even if it's contraceptives for ladies,
Mm.
antidepressants, those can also impact your hearing over time. So the first thing is make sure that you're living an overall good and healthy lifestyle, in
Mm.
the sense of you're getting enough sleep, you're exercising. But if you're on chronic medication, just get your ears tested as well, just to make sure that there aren't any long term benefits that you're getting from the medication, but now are taking away from your hearing. Another thing that is obviously very common is listening to loud music. But we've done studies over the past couple of years seeing how different environments are really loud, and this ranges from classrooms. Some classrooms can get really
Yeah, really
loud,
loud. Yes.
and we have amazing music industries in this country. So when it comes to concerts, our braais, we sometimes tend to play music louder than we're supposed to hear for
True.
extended periods of time. Other times you can't control it. It's the airport. If you're working there, a call center, a factory, a mine,
Mm.
those areas tend to have debilitating levels of loudness.
Hectic.
And thankfully, in the past couple of years, there's been legislation and also just implementation of including noise protectors in different work environments, which is important for staff.
Same.
But when you're young and starting out, you're not thinking about that. You're just trying to make a check. You're just trying to pay the bills. So it's really hard to say one specific thing that could put your ears at risk.
Mm.
But whatever stage you're at in life, just always go and check. You don't lose anything from having a test done.
True.
If you are going into a private practice, some offer hearing screenings for free, only for a diagnostic that came from a medical aid. Governments, hospitals, and clinics, most of the times, if you're a citizen, would do tests for free if you're a
Wow.
child. And if it's not for free at your bigger hospitals, it's usually at a discounted rate of even 100 Rand.
Wow.
So just get your ears tested,
Not a lot
just
of
to
people know
know,
this, actually.
just to know for yourself that there's nothing wrong. It's not that we're looking for something to say that something is wrong, but just to know that peace of mind that I've tasted, I'm good, and the rule of thumb is at least once a year, just to monitor. Yeah,
At least once a year.
at least once a year.
Okay.
So I hope you're gonna get your
Yeah, no.
hearing test soon.
Taking it for granted, like,
Yeah,
hearing, or like you have conversation with people and say, excuse me.
yeah,
And it's those little signs. It's like you think that you can't hear, but it's actually like you're not taking care of yourself. You're taking certain things for granted because it's
yeah.
the ear. You think, no, it's just an ear, but it's not.
Another thing that puts people at risk that a lot of people think is harmless, earbuds, cotton buds. Oh my goodness, we hate those.
How are we
Please
supposed to clean our
throw
ears?
them away. Stay far away from them. Use them for any other part of your body but your ears.
Wait, so why is the South African or the market selling earbuds then to clean people's ears?
So they've had to rebrand and call them cotton buds because there's so much risk that people are putting their ears through just by placing an earbud in their ears.
Yes.
Firstly, you can't see how deep you're going.
Mhm.
So you can irritate your ear canal or you can actually burst your eardrum. And that leads to permanent hearing loss.
Sick. Okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, we have earwax. So earwax is meant to protect our ears by itself. And when we use cotton buds, one of two things usually happens. It's either we go in too deep and
Yes.
we push the wax back inside and it builds up, or we take all of it out, then our ears are more susceptible to infections. So rather just leave the wax in there. You want it to come out by itself. If it's
Mm.
a bit stubborn, you can use a bit of sweet oil just to soften it.
Okay.
But we want it to come out and to be sitting at like the entrance of your ear. Once it gets there, you can use a face cloth with warm water and soap just to wipe. So
And
you
then
don't go in actually. You let the wax come out.
cotton buds, not
Yes.
earbuds.
Oh, stay far away from them.
Okay, cotton. That is. I'm gonna put this in a big note because that is serious. Because yes,
Yeah.
you push it deep down.
And accidents do happen.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had cases, or I've seen cases where even if it's a child, maybe they're trying to clean their ear and someone knocks or bumps into them, then that's a permanent hearing loss that they might have to live with for the rest of their lives.
Lives.
So there are surgeries that could be done by an ENT specialist,
Hmm.
but not everyone is a candidate. So it's case by case dependent.
Okay.
But also, why put yourself through that sort of trauma if it can be avoided?
True.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now, how has your faith influenced the way you care for your patients or see your role as an audiologist?
My faith is everything for me.
Yeah.
Everything. It's even in the little things. Before interacting with patients, I love praying, like a little prayer inside,
Yes.
just because a lot of times when it comes to audiology, if you're in a practice or in a clinic, people will be like, audiology patients are usually like the angry ones
Really?
because what ends up happening with these patients is because they feel a lot of frustration of having to ask for repetitions, like you said, or missing out and asking people to repeat themselves,
Mm.
or just feeling like they're not like how they used to be. They tend to isolate a lot,
Wow.
and that leads to a lot of pent up anger and just sadness
Wow.
over losing something that was there all the time but now isn't there. And that thing helps you connect with other people on a
Yes.
daily basis. So a lot of times they feel misunderstood. They feel like they're not listened to. They feel like they're not cared for. They feel like a burden in their family. They feel like they're not adding as much value as they used to in society.
Yes.
So by the time they get to us, they just have so much emotion in them. And a lot of them finally feel like, okay, what I've been experiencing is real. It's not in my head. And someone understands me. So then
Yes.
there's a lot of counseling that goes into the interactions we have with patients. And of course, we have the professional side where I use what textbook studies would say and research for clinical based
Mm.
practice.
Mm.
But then there's a human side as well, where there is no amount of experience or expertise or
Wow.
knowledge I could have that could touch this person the way they need to, or hear them with ears that are wiser than I am. And I think that's where faith and prayer comes in
Comes.
hand, where you interact with someone and they just start crying because they're like, finally, someone is listening to me, or finally, someone heard me, or finally, someone said, I'm not being dramatic. And they're able to really just be open. And that is such a beautiful thing. But that's something I can't take for granted or take lightly at all.
Yes.
And I realize that there's so many different situations and circumstances I haven't faced.
Mm.
And to come and just say sorry is not enough. So if I'm being led by the Holy Spirit and I am rooted in prayer,
Mm.
I'm able to connect with this person in a deeper level
Deeper level
and
as
help
well.
them hopefully walk away feeling a bit lighter.
Do you see? Do you see like what you do as a form of ministry in a way?
When it comes to ministry, growing up, I struggled a bit with the concept because I grew up in the church. I loved
Mm.
church, but I couldn't really understand how ministry could be limited to one person. Like only the pastor is the person who can share the word or
Yes.
understand the word of God well, or be the one in the pulpit and everyone else should just listen.
Yes.
But I think the more I've grown, the more I've realized that we're all called. That's why we all have purpose. That's why we all have a mission on this earth. And whether it's as an artist, as a designer, as a lawyer, as a baker, that's where God has planted you for a reason, because He knows you'll be able to interact and touch people there that I would never in another sector or in another place. So when we stop limiting ministry into a building and we make it a daily lifestyle, and
Yes.
that's our way of being and doing things, that's when God just moves. Hey, that's when God just takes the wheel and takes over, because it's, you know, the safety you have when you are so tired on the road and then someone else drives for you.
Yes.
I see that as ministry. It's like when God is in control of
Yes.
everything you do, He just takes over and you just feel
Everything.
safe. You're like,
True.
I'm gonna get there safe and sound.
True.
So even career wise, I have no idea where this person that's in front of me has been, what they've been through, what they've survived and overcome. But when God is in the room with me, I know when I leave that room, everything will change. Nothing will be the same.
True.
So it's, you can't separate the two; they are interlinked.
So, knowing that God is in control, do you feel that, I don't want to say the Holy Spirit led you, or do you feel that God pushed you, or was it yourself? Like, what inspired you to enter, like, for example, Miss South Africa? Like, to tie, like, how does that tie into the sense of your purpose?
I think growing up, I always viewed Miss South Africa as the epitome of a lady. You know, someone who's just so elegant, but so graceful in how she interacts with people. Someone so kind who gives everything to the people around her, to community. She just wants to make a difference. So seeing that from a young age, I was like, wow, I want to be a lady like that. I want to be a person where others can feel inspired, you know?
Yes.
And I'm so grateful for the opportunity I have now to be able to not limit it to just what I feel is safe anymore.
Mm.
Because it's scary. It's terrifying
Is it
having to
scary?
put yourself out there. It's terrifying. There are moments you wonder, what if I make a mistake? How will I be able to handle it? What if I don't fit into the perfect mold of what I think a Miss South Africa should be or a leader should be? But then, you know, that voice inside,
Yes.
that's what I'd love to believe is the Holy Spirit,
Yes.
where it just tells me it's scary, but that's why you should go after it.
Mm.
Because if it wasn't scary, you wouldn't be trusting God enough. You
True.
wouldn't be saying that He's that amazing if you only trusted Him with things you could do out of your own capacity. So that's why I challenge myself to really go outside of my comfort zone as an act of faith, but also as homage to the woman I believe I am capable of being, with or without the title. I know that obviously it would be a dream come true to be Miss South Africa,
Mm.
because I really believe in what the platform stands for, and I believe in the women it has built
Yes.
and the impact it makes in society.
Mm.
But I also have grown to realize that impact and purpose are not limited to a title. So I'm grateful to grow, but I know that regardless of where it is, when God is in the room,
Yes.
that's all that matters.
You're that was like you're basically covering my next question, because I was gonna say, like, sometimes my experience, right?
Mm.
So like pageantry and faith doesn't always seem like they go together, right? So how are you navigating that space with integrity and the kingdom mindset?
You know, when it comes to pageantry, it's beautiful because it's fostering leaders in women. But it is very easy in any field or any industry to lose yourself or to get caught up in trying to be something you're not to impress others.
Mm.
And I think that's why faith is so important. because when I read the Bible, for me, I feel like I find the principles of how I should live my life. And that life is one filled with love, filled with respect, and filled with a character that is willing to forgive and willing to help, because that's true religion. It's how you treat others, you know. So I think it's important to try and always remember why you're doing something. Because if you're doing it for the glitz and the glam, you'll
True.
easily lose yourself in the process trying to become something you're not. But if you're focused on the purpose, which is making a difference in my community and showing others that it's possible, regardless of where they come from, that's when it's easy to have a clear vision and it's more difficult to be led astray. So community is also very important.
Community.
I'm so grateful because through pageantry, I've actually met such incredible women who have become sisters also in my faith, in my walk, where sometimes we have phone calls where we pray for each other. We have times where we're like, okay, we're going to fast together. That's a community, that's a sisterhood that I was able to get with pageantry. I've had it before, but it's added on now.
Yes.
So it can expose you as well to amazing people. But also you have to always remind yourself to be authentic. Because the moment you move out of that or you step out of that, no one will be able to connect with you. And then it's a waste of a platform.
So, okay, you as an independent woman, right? Woman of Christ. Okay. What is a good example, like a woman of faith? What is a good example of a strong, not, what is a good example of a female, like as an individual, like a woman of faith? How does that look like?
You know, there's so many examples.
Yeah.
There's so many examples. I want to say in the world, there are like many women who have done it before us, who have fought off. When I think of a woman, I think of a warrior.
Yes.
So she is soft in the sense that she's loving and caring and nurturing, but with that, she's also very protective of the one she cares about. And she's also very fierce. If someone tries to hurt the people she cares for, it's like a lioness with a cub. She is going to attack the enemy, you know? Similar in faith, you have to stand strong in faith. You have to stay strong in the word, because just like anyone, there will be challenges, there will be obstacles. But you can't be scared of that. You can't be intimidated by that. You can't let fear take over. And the only way you'll be able to overcome is your fight of faith. So, biblically, there's so many examples from Esther to Ruth where you're just like, these were ordinary women. Even Mary, oh, she was a baby. She was so young. Oh, when I read the story of Mary, I just feel so bad for her.
Yes.
Because if I was in her position, I would have been like, no, God, she's someone else. She went through a lot at such a young age. Being told you're going to become a mom before you're married, when society would judge her,
Yes.
when being unholy by having a baby outside of marriage
True.
basically meant being ostracized by society. And she took that. She was like, I'm okay with being the one put in the forefront to help God bring this baby about, regardless of my reputation, regardless of if my family will believe me or not. You know, the shame that comes
Yes.
from family sometimes. And she was so young. She was like a teenager. Well, she was tough, between 12 to like 14 years old. She was a baby. At my age, I don't think I'd be able to handle that. But that just shows how powerful women can be, not only to bring life into this world, but just by being the women that they are, by loving, by caring, by spreading wisdom to children as well. You're creating future leaders, and that's just a drop
Yes.
of the significance a woman has in faith and in every sector of livelihood. I'd love to believe that if we had more female leaders, there'd be a lot less wars and a lot less cruelty in this world. But I also do believe that in order for women to be able to be and lead with integrity and to be at their best, we need to be able to foster a society that isn't intimidated by women
Mm.
being on top. And just because a woman is powerful doesn't mean she's also soft, doesn't
Mm.
mean she's also delicate and has a certain nurturing and
Yeah.
soft side to her. It's a balance.
Balance,
And I
honey.
think a lot of times society tries to limit women into one role, where it's like you're either strong and fierce and a leader, or you're soft and caring and a mother. And we're seeing a generation of women that are redefining that and showing it's possible to be both.
Yes.
And it's possible to be both while being Christian,
Yes.
because you don't have to lose your faith. You don't have to change religions or choose to not have a religion
Mm.
in order to lead a business.
True.
And I want to really, really say that we're starting to remodel as well what feminism looks like. It used to be seen as something as women hating men. And now we realize just by wanting women to have equal opportunities, it doesn't mean we hate men or we're disregarding men.
Yes.
It's if we want men that are beyond capable and in places of leadership, we know that they trust themselves enough and they are so secure in their masculinity and
Mm.
their leadership that they are more than comfortable with collaborating with other leaders, even if they're female. So that balance comes in the workplace, but also in the church, where we're having female pastors now.
Yes.
And some of them are even married to other pastors who are male. And that just shows you can have two leaders in a family. It's not one or the other. Yeah.
Was there ever a doubt? Um, we had. Was there ever a time we had doubts in your faith or your walk in your purpose? Like through this whole ride, like being an audiologist, wanting to be Miss South Africa, anything. Like, how did you overcome like that doubt and saying, okay, yeah, this is not working. Clearly, I'm struggling in this part of my life.
There were many times, many times where I'd wonder, why are things so difficult? Why are things so challenging? When will things get easier?
Mm.
Am I really equipped for this? Am I qualified to do this? But again, it goes back to having the right support system. I'm so grateful for my mom. I'm so grateful for my family, my friends,
Mm.
because they speak life into me at times where I feel hopeless. That's why community is so, so important. But then other times where you're going to have to go, close the door, and get down on your knees.
Mm.
That's the only way you'll be able to fill that void. Because there are times where you doubt yourself or you doubt if you're doing the right thing, not because the journey isn't clear in front of you, but because you doubt if you are good enough for it, you know? And when you're able to find your purpose, when you're able to find your worth in Christ, circumstances don't determine your worth anymore. I know that there are times where we often feel like if we're not getting the applause of others, if people are not recognizing the amount of hours that are going into things, the sacrifice, they don't know what I've been through, they don't know what I've done to get here, then it feels like it's not worth it. But when you know the truth of, even if not a single person claps for me, I'm still
Mm.
so proud. I'm
Yes.
still so thankful. I'm still so grateful. That's when you're able to look at God and be like, it's because you did it. It's because I literally tried everything, but the only way this mountain moved is because you commanded it to. So once there's a power greater, be way beyond what you
Mm.
can control behind you, you can't take credit for
Oh.
anything anymore. And I think once I got to that point where I felt, in a sense, I lost everything
Mm.
and I didn't see any way to move forward, and God just brought that little glimmer of hope and that little
Yeah.
light, and everything just somehow worked out. That's when I was like, ah,
It's
Why, why do I even doubt him? Why do I keep doing this to myself? Because he always makes a way.
wow.
That's just what he does. And I like to try and look at myself in comparison to the world at large.
Mm,
And I'm like, if the God of the universe, like he created all these planets, all these stars, all these oceans, all these mountains, he created all of that. And he was like, the world needs a little bit of you. Then how can I doubt him? Like he's greater than everything I can see with my eyes and
yes.
things I can't even see. Why would he be intimidated by the situation? Why would he be scared if I need a little money? Why would he be scared if I need a breakthrough? Why would he be scared? Like he's never failed me before. Why would he start at this exact moment? That's when I get back up.
Yes.
So that's the conversation I have with myself after praying.
Hectic.
Yeah.
Hectic. So, cause like you display you're a very good example of an elegant lady,
Thank
like a woman
you.
of God. So, and you have a very big heart, a big loving heart, which is amazing. All right.
Thank
So,
you.
when it comes to your charity organization, Caring Purpose, where did that all come from? Like, why Caring Purpose? And yeah, like, where did the love and thing to say, I'm going to start this today and take care of everyone else?
So when it comes to caring purpose, I think it's like my baby. I
Hmm.
think that's mine. For a long time, I dreamed of having a charity or working full time in charity because I know what hunger looks like.
Yeah.
I know what poverty feels like, but I also know what provision also that experience is.
Hmm.
And sometimes just having someone reach out a hand, it makes you feel like you have dignity again, you know? Like that helping hand, like someone took their time out to look at me and be like, no, you deserve help because you don't need to be stuck at the situation you're facing.
Hmm.
So that was my driving force for caring purpose because that's the purpose of my life to care.
True. True.
So it only made sense to name it that. But my biggest dream ever is to always hopefully be able to work towards a continent in Africa
Wow.
where we don't need handouts anymore. And the only way to do that is to be in our communities, making sure that our people are equipped with skills, that our people are getting their bare minimum basic necessities met.
Hmm.
That's the only way they'll be strong enough to fight for the futures they deserve.
True.
So I wanted to be more than just coming as a savior to help people. I
Hmm.
wanted to be an instrument to allow people to achieve their own greatness. Because that's the point. I
Yes.
don't want people to be always waiting for help. I want them to get to a point where they don't need my help anymore.
Hmm.
Where they're like, thanks, you did your best. I'm good now.
True.
Go help someone else.
Hmm.
And I'll, in my own capacity, help another person I come across. That's the only way we can be able to create a thriving Africa. There's too many stories of a scientist or an engineer or a
Hmm.
doctor or policeman that didn't get to fulfill that purpose or that calling over their life simply because of poverty and because of how society is structured. And I don't think that's a story we still need to keep telling. I think it's time that we change that, and caring purpose is my little way of doing it.
Yes.
And thankfully, I have a team. I have an amazing team with me that genuinely loves people, that genuinely wants to make a difference. And we get an amazing opportunity to collaborate with other charities and nonprofits because it's not isolated. The problems we have It's not either you're dealing with hunger or you're dealing with illiteracy or you're dealing with
Mm.
unemployment or you're dealing with a housing crisis. They're all interlinked.
All to one, yeah.
And the only way we'll be able to deal with them all is through collaboration and seeing them as a grand scheme of things, as a holistic picture of how we can help a person be able to reach that goal of a thriving future for themselves. I met you at Feed organization,
Yes.
which was absolutely fantastic. But through Feed, when we'd go and we'd hand out food in parks to homeless people, I was like, we see these people, but every time we see them, they're either sick or they're
True.
going through some sort of pain or they have some sort of
Or their
wounds.
eyes light
Yeah,
up when they see you, like,
yes, but it's like, okay, we've helped with the food now. What else can we do? So caring purpose is literally just the what else can we do to try and add on the work that's already being done out there
mm,
and also show others that you don't need the millions, you don't
true,
need the biggest platforms or to feel like I'm there in life to
mm,
help others. With the little you have, you can start, and
true.
that will make a difference.
Sure. I learned something about like the normal economy, the worldly economy, and
Yeah,
then the kingdom economy. So it's like what you're basically saying is like when God blesses you, the wealth must also go through to someone else
yeah.
that they also then able to grow themselves. It's like it's not you holding yourself. So now when you coming and showing up for that person, you're like saying, okay, what else can I help you with? Because it's like
We're vessels. We're literally
basically,
just vessels for God's blessings. That is literally why God blesses us. He
yes,
blesses us so it can overflow. The cup has to overflow. He doesn't pour until the cup is at the brim of being full and he's like, okay, that's enough. We're done.
yes,
He fills us with so many blessings just so it
mm,
overflows into the lives of other people. So we have to allow ourselves to be used. We have to allow ourselves to do the work that sometimes isn't cute because that's where
true,
the true gems are, you know?
true. So, what does the crown that befits you mean to you? And what crown are you still chasing?
The crown that befits me means a crown with my name on it. And because it has my name on it, it means I have to become a certain version of Romanda
Hmm.
to be able to wear it.
Yes.
And I'm working on that version every single day because I know that version is one that is overflowing with love, is one that is filled with integrity, is one that never gave up, is a reminder that carries all the people that she's encountered with her to that crown.
Mm.
And I'm still chasing it at this very moment as we speak.
Yes.
So I look forward to the day when we'll be able to speak and reflect. And I say, I finally got it. I made it. I have the crown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing, Amanda. Now, this part of the episode, I had a previous guest. I
Yes.
don't say their name, they're anonymous. So if you did watch, you know who they are. So I had them write 3 questions,
Yes.
right? That they want to know from the next person that sits here. So I'm going to ask you, and you can answer as honestly as you can, as best as you can. Okay.
Okay.
So this person's first question was, who is someone in your area of expertise that inspires you most?
Oh, there's so many areas though, but I'm going to start with audiology because
Okay.
that's the first person that came to mind.
Yes.
Dr. Mugobe Pangu Pangu, my biggest inspiration. He is a young South African man.
Mm,
But when it comes to just trailblazing in audiology and public health, he is killing it. He has over 10 publications, and they're all focused on what we can do in audiology to improve the livelihoods of children and adults, whether they're facing HIV and AIDS or they're in under resourced communities, the
mm,
work that can be done to make sure we're giving them the highest level of care. And I've had the amazing privilege of meeting Dr. Pangu Pangu, and he is such a humble soul, so kind, so driven, and he's a natural leader.
Mm.
So there's a difference between a manager and a leader, you know. He is a leader, regardless of whatever position or title he holds, he makes sure to lift others with him. And that inspires me. So Dr. Pangu Pangu, chef's kiss.
Wow. Especially when you said like manager, and there's a big difference between a manager and a leader. Like most people mistake those roles completely different. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, a leader does the dirty work, like the work that is unseen. And
Yeah, from behind, like he will literally push you to success, and that's what
yes.
I think leadership really is. It's not about the fame or the glory you
Mm.
get. It's the satisfaction you get from seeing people really become what they're meant to be, and sometimes even go over and beyond. I'm gonna use the example I have of Dr. Pangu Pangu,
Mm.
where when I met him, I, in a sense, I had big dreams, but I still feel like they were very limited because I didn't know how I was going to achieve them. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know if it was possible.
Mm.
I was just like, that's my dream. That's what I want to do. That's how I want to live. And he sat me down and he was like, okay, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Then what are the steps that have to be taken for you to get there? And how are you going to make sure you're putting in that work every single day before you get there,
Mm.
you know? And that's what a leader really is, someone who helps you turn it into achievable goals. So they make it smart, so it's easier for you to see it and it's easier for you to work towards it.
Mm.
Even though he gets absolutely nothing from me
Yeah.
reaching my goals, it's just him saying, yeah, she's going towards that.
Wow.
That's enough for me.
Wow.
So being a leader means being very selfless.
Yes.
Um, it means thinking beyond yourself because in your leadership journey, there may be times where maybe you are mentoring someone or helping someone, and what if one day they just give up on that dream? You
Mm.
can't hate them.
You can't.
You can't make them feel bad because maybe the vision has changed. Or vice versa, what if they make it because of all the help you gave them if they don't say thank you?
True.
What are you going to do? Are you going to go back and fight
You
them
didn't
or
thank
try
me.
and. No, you have to be okay with sometimes not being thanked for all the work you put in and still being okay with that. You are the greatest contributor, and that's fine. Because, in all honesty, we're still vessels. It's
True.
like the ability to help someone doesn't come from you, it comes from God. So if you're always chasing that validation, then who are you really doing it for? God or yourself?
Mm.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Do you? Okay. I'm still trying to. That was deep. Okay. Um. And the second question for that person said, "Do you think you would be where you are in your life without God? Why or why not? And where do you think you would find yourself?"
I don't even want to play with you. I don't know where I'd be without God. I don't know what I'd be doing without God. I don't know if I'd be alive without God.
Mm.
There's so many things that could have killed me, so many things that could have taken my life, so many things that should have destroyed me that didn't. And I don't even know why. But God, that's the only reason. God.
Mm.
So I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what I'd be doing, where I'd be if it wasn't for God. But I know that it definitely was not gonna be worth
Hectic.
it.
And their last question, right?
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and change any event that happened in your life, what would you change and why? And how would you change that impact in your life today?
It's something very, very, very small. But if I would go back in time, I wish I let go sooner.
Mm.
Um, being someone who naturally is just, I think I'm affectionate and caring and loving. It's great, but at the same time, it's not because I hold on to either friends or people where maybe their season in their life has ended. That chapter should be closed.
Mm.
Or maybe there's someone who it's not worth fighting for the way you're fighting for them, where they don't want to move forward anymore because they feel like, no, this is enough for me.
Mm.
And that's good because that's their life. That's great. Let them. I wouldn't let go. I would try. I would exhaust myself trying to convince them that no, it's bright on the other side.
Mm.
And that's not it because that's where God wants them for now, and that's okay. I wish I let go sooner. I remember in grade seven, no, actually, it was grade six.
Mm.
I had a best friend that I met about 2 years before that, and we were so close. And her family was moving to Australia. And I remember the day I found out it was the first period of primary school. I cried. I cried from around 7 in the morning until 2. I was still crying. Every class we went to, I was crying.
Mm.
In break, because at the time
Crying.
we used to have 2 breaks, I cried. After school, I was supposed to go for an activity. I cried. I went home literally around 6 o'clock. My mom came back from work. She found me still crying. Mind you, she got a call from school in the morning when I found out that I was crying. She's like, no, she's going to cry the whole day because she struggles with letting go. But that's just how I am. If I start crying, I'm going to cry
Mm.
until there's no tears left in my body. I'll just cry and cry and
Mm.
cry. And I wish from a young age, or at least at that point, I learned the beauty of letting go because she was still fine. She was healthy. Her family was still going to be okay. We could
Mm.
still have phone calls. But the thought of not having her in front of me every day destroyed me. And
Sure.
that's a bad trait I think has followed me throughout life of holding on longer than I'm supposed to.
Mm.
There's so much beauty and so much freedom that comes from letting go. And similarly, even in faith, I can say so many times, or I've had so many times where I've said, I trust you, God. Jesus, I believe in you. But do I trust in you enough to let it go
Mm.
and to give it fully to you, to lay it at your feet and not think about it anymore? I've been Lot's wife so many times. I looking back, thinking back, God, I grew up in the city. My friends and family are in the city. Yes, he told me to leave that behind and look forward to a new future. But Lord, this is all I know.
Mm.
I've been the Israelites that were taken out of Egypt. We're like, you got us here in the desert. We're hungry. At least there they were feeding us while they were beating us as slaves. So I wish that is something I learned younger
That's
to just let go.
just
Just let go.
wow. Okay. So now, what are you? What I'm gonna? Sorry. What are you going to do? What you're going to do now
Yeah.
is write 3 questions that
Okay.
you're gonna ask the next guest who's gonna sit here. I'm gonna ask them the same set of questions that you're gonna write down, and then they'll answer, and you can hear what they have to say.
I can't wait, actually. Okay.